Decades before beauty bloggers and YouTube makeup tutorials, one man created the signature looks of the most famous beauty icons. Check out Max Factor's creations. This four-story building on Hollywood Boulevard was once the epicenter of beauty. The stars of Hollywood's golden era came here for their signature makeup looks. From one man, Max Factor. Each level of Max Factor's four-story studio served a significant purpose. On the first floor, stars had specific rooms based on their hair color. It was here that Max Factor's concept of color harmony came into play. A woman's hair color and skin determined her signature makeup look. Wigs dominated the second floor of Max Factor's studio. An assembly line of workers created lipsticks on the third floor, and the fourth floor contained an explosive secret. Eyeshadows were made here with gunpowder. This ingredient made the colors sparkle. But perhaps Max Factor's biggest creation was the glamorous world of makeup he made accessible to all women. Donelle Dadigan, founder of the Hollywood Museum in the original Max Factor building, joins us now. And, you know, let's talk about how did Max Factor change the beauty landscape for everyone?
Max Factor, not only was he known as Hollywood's makeup king, so he was the first man to provide makeup and make makeup for the street, for us to be able to have it, but yet we were considered to be hussies if we wore makeup, because that was the term used in the 1930s. So Max Factor made it okay, acceptable society for socially, so that we could wear a little bit of makeup prudently. And it all took place in the historic Max Factor building.
Very cool. Tell us about the beauty calibrator and how that worked.
Well, it's a very interesting invention. In 1932, Max Factor tried to figure out how to scientifically create the perfect face. And this beauty calibrator actually measures all of the features on faces. So if your eyebrows were too high or too low, your eyes were too small or too large, the bridge of your nose too wide or too narrow, he was able to correct it all with using these formulations that he created from this calibrator. And he'd fix it with makeup and shading and lighting. And this is all before you snapped your fingers and had plastic surgery or liposuction at your disposal.
I've got this old school kissing machine here too. So Donelle, I'm
kissing machine?
It was serious.
I'm gonna ask you how this was used back in the day.
Well, actually this replaced real husbands and wives and fiancés that were doing a test for Max Factor. They were all employed by Max Factor, and they were in his makeup factory. And he hired married couples, and of course you had to be at least fiancé engaged, otherwise you could not do this. And it sounded like fun to begin with. Men would kiss women, and they would see how much pressure would there have to be before the woman's lipstick could rub off or get smudged, because Max Factor was inventing a new formula for stay-put lipstick. And so he used live models, but you'd never believe this. But this practice got old fast, and people no longer signed up to make some extra money smooching in front of a scientist who was taking down calculations. So Max Factor decided that he would make a machine.
I mean, that is fascinating. It's fascinating, and we use so many devices nowadays, and it's really cool to think that this was really the start of it all.
Well, it's kind of fun to think that, and I should add that Lucille Ball, you know, I Love Lucy, she was the star who actually debuted this Stay Put lipstick in 1939.